All right, says we are live, but I don't have any.
We're live.
I don't. Hey, everybody! I'm looking for a toggle switch or recording button, but I don't see anything. So we ready to roll? All right. Are we live? Apparently we are. Welcome to the Color Up Podcast, where tonight we're going to be talking about the tools of the game of craps. What tools do we have? I mean, everybody's got tools in their job, but what tools do we have? We have sticks, we've got a puck. Almost sounds like ice hockey, which rhymes with dice hockey. We're going to be talking about that right now.
And Jim, right now I would play our intro theme song,
If you could.
but if I could, but I'm on location in Tulsa, Oklahoma, so I don't have access to that. I don't know if my audio is bad because I'm using these little white thingies in my ear, but we're going to bypass the theme song and
Okay.
just move right on with the
Move
podcast
right
and
on to it. Okay.
do the
I don't.
best we can with what
Hey.
we've got. Talking about
I,
tools of the trade, I don't have the proper podcast tools of the trade, but we're going to make it work.
all right. So you're on location in an undisclosed place
Yeah.
where it's
Well,
Christmas
Tulsa.
time.
I
Tulsa.
don't know if
Okay.
it's
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
undisclosed, but
Okay.
yeah.
Tulsa.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're decorated for Christmas here.
Excellent. Yeah. Very good. Very good. And how was your week?
Boy, it was a whirlwind, I guess. I mean, I've been obviously doing some traveling. I'm out here. Before, yeah, I don't know. Earlier in the week, I finished my daughter's volleyball season's over, so that's over. We went and got to see her, and then, editing videos to get them out, before I left town and that sort of thing. So yeah, just normal stuff, nothing spectacular. I did see something on Facebook about you though today.
Oh yes. Let me grab this. Hold on one second.
All right, is
I'll
it the
show it to
trophy we're
my.
gonna?
No, I don't get. I don't have the trophy. I'm not
You
that
don't get to
cool.
keep the
It's
trophy.
not like the Stanley Cup. We've got the
Oh, okay.
OTSL Soccer Champions, the over 50 league in Virginia Beach, and I was a part of the crew that brought home the trophy.
Yeah,
So
it's a nice
very exciting
trophy.
seeing is. Oh yeah, it's pretty cool and all. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. So it was a good week on that. Our girls cross country team won the state title, which I thought was pretty cool.
Your
And
high
let's see what
school.
else
Yeah,
at the high school I teach at, and let's see what else has been going. It was a pretty good week, man. It was a pretty good
nice.
week. So no
You
complaints
you
there.
changed the radiator. You're all kind.
Oh yeah, yeah. I did get a chance to work on a buddy's car yesterday. We changed out the radiator in his 2013 Dodge Avenger. So
Okay, okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So
You're a man
got
of
some.
many talents. You're
Yes,
teaching, you're playing soccer, changing radiators all in one
and
week.
I bought a new suit today for my Christmas concert, the Christmas choir concert for this choir I'm in called King's Choir.
You'll be
So bought a
singing a
new
little bit,
suit
huh?
today. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a baritone. You couldn't tell
Okay.
by this chipper voice,
Yeah,
but
okay.
definitely a baritone.
I'm
So
probably more
Jack's,
up in the tenor range, I think, a little bit higher pitched
I don't
than
know.
you.
I don't know. We'll have to do a little range test on you.
Okay,
Get the
okay.
piano out and we'll try it out. I did see where Jag said hello, hello Jax, and I'm assuming that's Jacksonville Jags. So good to see you. But we're going to be talking about the tools of the trade of craps today. So we got a lot of tools to talk about, especially for the beginners. But how do you want to approach this? How do you want to dive in? Do you want to start from the bottom up? You want to
Well,
inside
I mean,
out?
well, I was thinking, I have some with me here. I got some dice, right?
Okay, there you go.
And the game of craps, this is probably really the only tool you need. For instance, because where it originated from and where it kind of developed was street craps, right? So really,
Sure.
or rolling the bones or whatever, So you really don't need anything beyond dice to start with. So I guess
Theoretically,
that,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I guess that would be the main tool of the trade here would be dice.
So two six-sided dice,
Yep, yep. They usually
equally
give you,
weighted. Yeah.
yeah. So these here are actually color up dice that I've had made. Now these are 19 millimeter, which is pretty standard if you go shop on Amazon or places like this. So what they do is they make them perfectly squared, perfectly weighted. And so that's what these are. But these you wouldn't find these in a casino necessarily. Casinos are very specific. They use not American metric, American units. So they're usually, well, not usually, there's two sizes.
Okay.
There's 0.775 and there's 0.750, which is 3/4 of an inch, and then a little bit bigger. But they
Okay.
0.775 of an inch. Whereas, you'll know if they say 19 millimeter, they're using millimeter, they're probably coming from China. So they're very good dice, but they're not up to what casinos use. And there's really just casinos get them from two manufacturers, GPI. I think it's like Global Partners International or something, but they don't sell to anybody. And then a lot of people, and I've even got them. They used to be from a company called Midwest Gaming, but they've since sold to a company called Huxley or TCH Huxley, something like that, which is then again owned by some other bigger conglomerate. It gets pretty hairy of all the things, but yeah. So tools of the trade are dice. I don't know what else to say about it. They're usually transparent, and that's so you can see if their weight, anything's hidden in them. You don't want any weight, that would settle dice down. If there was weighted on one side, but they're usually transparent, so they can kind of see if anyone's doing funny business. They usually have a serial number on them, that sort of thing. But
and I've been at the table when they open up the table for the first of the day and they're breaking the seal on a set of dice. I've actually seen some of the pit bosses and people with calipers to check to make sure that they actually are the dice that they say they are. And I guess they compare them with the serial number of the wrapper with the serial number of the dice inside, and they check them to make sure that they're the proper width and on each side. It has to be within so many, I don't know, thousands or tens of thousands.
Yeah, tens of thousands. Yeah, I mean, because it's to their advantage that it's perfectly square, because it's going to give them a more random roll. So as time goes on, they have they call them razor. They're not razor sharp, but they're pretty sharp. But over time they get nicks and stuff. So different casinos have different rules when they replace them. Some it's like every shift, some it's like once per day. It just they have different times, but essentially any damage or starting to wear down, they don't like that. They prefer them to be perfectly balanced, perfectly weighted, nice sharp edges, because for the casino it's a better opportunity for a more random roll.
Sure.
So that's why, it's important to them, because that's what they want. But as long as it's a good random roll, they make their money.
And we had some more people checking in saying, hey, Holy Roller, Naomi, and Craftsmaster Journey. Yes. So, yeah, big hello to everybody who's out there. And, again, we'll be heading toward the monster roll. But tonight's all about the tools of the trade. So the first thing is the dice. And
they come in different colors. I don't know if
yeah, different colors. Yeah, you did not mention that.
Yeah, I mean, I have red. It's a real common one, but, green, like a yellow. But I've seen black. I've seen purple. I mean, have you seen anything? Blue. Yeah, blue. Yeah. I see a lot.
There's some of the casino dice that have been punched out. I forget which casino. I think it was the Four Queens, or somebody had blue dice over there.
Rules on that. But whatever color the casino wants for marketing or whatever reason, and then typically, like me, I have my name engraved on there. They'll have their casino name, stamped in there. And then once they're done with them, they usually will drill a hole all the way through them, or they'll
punch
them and create some sort of damage on them. That way, they can easily say, oh, that one's damaged, we're not going to ever reuse that in a game. And then they'll be either destroyed, or a lot of them sold in gift shops or that sort of thing. So but I guess dice, number one tool of trade there.
Absolutely. And I guess the color kind of matters on the layout of the whatever the casino wants.
You kind of need a contrasting color, right? So you can see the dice. Typically they're white. They're called pips. White spots, pips. And but there are different ones. I think I want to next time I maybe get the bullseyes one, where each pip is like a bullseye. But they're typically white. I don't know if I've ever seen a different color than white. But yeah, if I've seen a red felt before, so red dice on red felt would be, hard for the camera to see, hard for the stickman to call out. So
Mm-hmm.
there's some practicality there too. So they would want to probably have a contrasting color. But I have seen blue dye on a blue felt before, and like you said, it was not the best idea.
Yeah, it's not.
I
Can't
don't know
hardly
how.
see it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how long they kept those in
Okay.
play, but yeah.
Interesting. So dice are the number one tool, and the dice. And again, this is what's unique about craps versus any other game of the casino. We control the outcome.
Oh,
Control the outcome.
yeah.
I'm teasing. So yeah, we get a chance to control the outcome, and whatever number comes up, that's the number they're going to pay off or take the money away, win or
Yep.
lose, and they leave it up to our hands. And
Yeah.
so far, we do a really good job of keeping the casinos in business.
Yep. They
Okay.
haven't removed the game yet, so they still let us do it. Like roulette, we're not allowed to throw the ball, but we're
No.
still allowed to throw the dice.
I wonder why they won't let us in roulette. I guess too easy to switch it out, or
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know. It's a good question,
I
but
will have to ask next
that
time we
is
have a
what's
casino boss on the channel. We'll have to
yeah.
ask them.
But you're right. That is what's unique about this. Is the only game where we get to determine the outcome.
Okay. So where do you want to get to next as far as the tools go? Dice, obviously, in a game of craps. Where are we going to next, Mr. Color Up?
Well, you had in the intro you mentioned the on-off puck. I wasn't even thinking about that, but I guess there's an on-off puck,
Oh yeah,
right?
there is. Again, and I could probably run over there and get one. But it's basically a round thing, and it says either on, or if you flip it on the other side, it says off.
Mm-hmm.
And that determines whether the game is on or the game is restarting. And that's important to when you want to buy in as being a good, polite etiquette player, as we've learned from Mr. Color Up himself and others. That's the best time to buy in. But the casino will let you buy in anytime, middle of the roll. They will always take the money. But we know we want to be nice to our fellow players and don't mess up the mojo of the table and the momentum and all that good stuff. So we want to wait on that. So there is an on and
Wait
off.
for the puck to say off, or
Off.
typically, I think it's typically white. I have
Yeah,
seen
it's
pucks that
white,
didn't have
white
any
or black.
wording.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So I'm
typically
sitting
white or
there looking
black.
at mine. It's white with a on button or no, depending on which way
Yeah,
it's
which way it
looking.
says.
Yeah. Could
Yeah.
be a no button. And then the
Yep.
other side's the off button over
So if
there.
it's on, then it's games in session. Otherwise, it's off, and yeah,
You can throw
there's
your
not a
money
point.
in the cum there. So what are the tools that we're going to need to play a cool game of craps, sir?
Well, let's see, layout. There's chips. There's cash. There's
Gonna
the
need a
stick man
stick for
has a
the stick,
stick.
man. Yeah.
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 Let's go with cash. Well, I
Let's go
mean,
with
that's a
cash.
tool of the trade.
Okay. So how much cash does one need to play the game of craps? Because you could put $20 in a slot machine,
Mm-hmm.
and depending on the what do you call it, the amount of the machine per spin, you can spend a little while if it's a penny slot or whatever. But is $20 going to do much for you at a craps table?
Yeah, it's not going to get you very far. So craps is a less volatile game than, for instance, slots, but it does take probably to stand a chance a larger bankroll.
Mm-hmm.
So, like at a $10 game, all the bets, if you go to a table that says it's 10 or 15, the most common table, $10 or $15, that means all the bets, each of them are 10 or 50. Let's go with $10.
All
So
right,
they're
$10.
each $10. If you want to bet on the 4, it's $10. If you want to bet on the pass line, it's $10. If you want to make a field bet, it's $10. So all the bets are $10. And then the ones in the middle, the high risk, high reward bets might be $1. But you could go up with $20 and bet on 2 different numbers. And if they roll, hey, you win some money back. But if the game puck goes on and then they roll a 7, you lose your $20, and it's just tough to win that way. So I typically recommend to have enough, however you like to play, to have enough money to last for 10 shooters. So
Okay.
if you have $20 and you like to bet two numbers, you bet the 5 and 9. Maybe have $200 so you can bet the 5 and 9 for 10 different people throwing the dice. Gives you
Okay.
a little bit of a chance to win some money. You know, some people are not going to ever roll a 5 and 9, and you're going to lose all $20. And some shooters are going to roll the 5 and 9 and hopefully several times, and you'll win a little bit of money. So that's kind of a general rule of thumb.
So bankroll very important to
Yeah, it is a
playing and
cash
playing.
game.
Mm-hmm.
So you find ATMs, around, and some places you can sign like a loan. They're called markers. You can sign for a loan or whatever. But I don't know of any place that allows credit.
Okay.
So it's a cash game, but you don't play with cash. You put on the cash on the table, and then you exchange them for checks, which we can get into later. A little bit different than chips, but you exchange them for checks, and then you play with the checks instead of paper dollars cash.
But the average layperson would look at the checks and think they were chips.
Yeah, they would probably call them
And
chips.
they kind of look like poker chips or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. But they're not chips because
they have cash value. So
okay.
almost like a check, when you write a check, you can exchange it for cash. It has cash value. And that's the difference is you can take that poker chip, craps chip, check, and cash it for some cash, whereas a chip has no value. It's just a piece of plastic. Like maybe if you have some chips at home and you play a home game, they're just pieces of plastic that have no value. You couldn't turn them in anywhere.
Okay.
And that's the difference. And mainly you'll see chips at roulette table. So those are not checks. You don't play with, you can, but typically you get chips, which they represent money, but they're not money. You can't take them and exchange them.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's kind of the difference there.
All right.
What else about cash?
Yeah,
you need a bankroll. You need a certain amount of money, and like I said, I suggest however you like to play. Some people like strategies. Hey, this strategy, this Iron Cross, takes $35. Well, I would recommend you bring like $350. So the game is a little expensive, but that'll give you your best chance to have some time there and a chance to win.
Okay.
If you walk up with $20, you're not
probably
maybe you got like one bet. And it is what it is. Yeah,
okay. It'd be like one spin on a.
Yeah, if you want to take your money, put it on one spin of the roulette wheel. That would be. It's a little better than that because sometimes the dice take a little bit longer to resolve the point. So I think, and that's one of the reasons I like craps better than roulette. There's a little more to it. Than most games. Blackjack is one hand, roulette's one spin. Obviously, slots is one spin. But craps,
there can be other outcomes besides the immediate win and loss.
Right,
There's rolls in between before it's resolved.
It's not a one roll bet. I mean, there are some run roll bets, but there are multi-roll bets at the table.
Yeah, I would say that's definitely one thing about the game of craps. If you get somebody on a roll and the points are being hit and you get the sevens at the right time on the come outs and you're a place better, then your $10, $20, $30, $40, $50, $60 worth of bets can stay up there an awfully long time, right?
Yeah, that's the magic of the game, right? We all want a big roll where you just keep rolling the dice and rolling the dice, and because you could, if you did start with $20 and got lucky enough, to win $14, you can cover another number, cover more numbers, and keep winning, right? As the dice keep repeating over and over again. So that's why we play the game, and that's what that's the big exciting is if you can get a long roll. Yeah,
definitely a long roll on that will drag people in and get everybody all hyped up over there. So bankroll's important tool of the trade if you're going to be playing some craps. What other tools can you think about? I've got one in my head that.
Well, go ahead.
Okay, so I think an important tool is before you start playing is you got to have some knowledge.
Oh, okay.
And I think
Not a physical tool.
not a
Didn't
physical
think of
tool,
this.
but a
Okay.
mental tool, right? And whether it's some of these, half dozen books or whatever between, within arm's reach of me, or some of your videos, or some of our buddies' videos that are in these in the channel and chat, and in our club, I think you need to arm yourself with a little bit of knowledge. I mean, you can explain craps very easily. And I think now you said you pick a number. If that number wins, you win. If it doesn't win or it doesn't roll, you lose, depending on what number it is.
Yeah, that's what
And
I've kind of
that's what you narrowed
narrowed
it
it down to.
down.
You pick a number, bet on it, and if it rolls, it wins. So that's the
If it rolls,
easiest
it
way to
wins.
explain it.
Yeah, yeah. So if it rolls, it wins. If it doesn't roll, it does not win. Whereas in blackjack, you can say, first, dealer's 21 or over, you'll bust, that kind of stuff. But just like you wouldn't probably go play blackjack with just a little bit of knowledge and expect to be too successful. I think you need to invest some time and get some tools in your mind to know what you're doing.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I
think that's
think.
the
I don't
key
know.
is if you expect to be or see any success, you want to know. I mean, there's certainly lots of people, first trip to Vegas or whatever, and they walk up to the table, hey, what is this game? Oh, this is a game of craps and dice. Like, okay, well, I've got $500, I've got 200, I got
Yeah.
$100. How do I play this? And they jump right in feet first, and it doesn't usually go too well, but sometimes they get lucky and it works out. But yeah, I think, and specifically with craps, a lot of people, I get this feedback a lot. It's a very intimidating game for a lot of people, just because we'll talk about this other tool of the trade is the layout. It
Mm-hmm.
looks really complicated. So people are like, what is going on here? Because you got multiple players and a dealer is
Absolutely.
moving these checks all over the place, and people are like, they can't comprehend like what the heck's going on. So it looks like a very complicated board game, and so yeah, a lot of people, and that's kind of why I started my channel, is to help people learn the game and have some knowledge before they go. And I
Mm-hmm.
think most people do that, but there are certainly people who are like, I don't care, I'll just figure it out on the,
Yeah. More
yeah.
power to
But
them.
I would say, yeah, I think that's a great point you brought up. I would say knowledge of the game is a great tool to have before you go. I would recommend before you go for the first time. But hey,
But
you
I mean,
know,
you can go. We've seen it before. We're playing as experienced players or somewhat experienced players, and then somebody will come up and say, "Hey, how do you do this?" And then
yeah,
you give them, "Okay, first roll is the come out roll. If it's a 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, or 10, it's a point is
point.
established. Any other number, you keep rolling until you get a point, and blah blah blah. And you want to roll that before you roll big red. But
And,
and I've seen people jump in and play like that.
and it's not a game. I think a lot of people you can learn it on YouTube and books, but I mean once you're there at the table,
Best
the
way to
more
learn it.
is the best
Yeah.
way because you'll get more and more familiar and things will register with you. And each
Hmm.
trip you go, you'll feel more and more comfortable for most people. So I mean, going and actually being there is a big part of it. But yeah, I think knowledge beforehand is a great point.
Hmm. So knowledge can be a tool. What other tools can you think of that we need to be successful in at this craps game? You think?
Well, I don't know about us, but I know in the modern day of crafts, you need a stick. The stick man needs a
Okay.
stick, and that's really just a logistics thing. The tables are long, usually 10, 12, 14 feet. There's some 16 feet tables out there. As players, we have to throw the dice to the opposite end of the table, so it's out
Hmm.
of reach. And so the dealer just needs a stick, and he pulls them back.
And he uses that stick a number of different ways to gather the dice, pass the dice out, but he also uses it as control of pace
Mhm.
for the game. And once he pushes he'll say die, or she will say dice out, and that
Mhm.
typically means no more bets are being thrown to the center. That stick person also controls all those center bets, usually at most all
Mhm.
the tables, right?
Yep. So they cover the bets in the middle, and then they use the stick a lot of times to point to players like, hey, this person won this bet in the middle, so they'll have the side dealers, pay them off.
Okay.
But yeah, it's when we say stick, it literally is, they're usually made of wood, bamboo, different materials like this, but they're just a long stick with a curve, like a little L or a hockey stick type shape, so they can hook the dice. Yeah, and if you're nasty, maybe they can give you a whack. I don't. I've never seen that.
I've
I've
seen them
seen people walk
wave the
behind
sticks.
and
Yeah,
they
yeah,
can
they
run
gotten
into the
hit.
stick. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've seen the dealer like wave the stick in somebody's face when they tried to take the dice away. Whoa, whoa, whoa. But
But yeah, I
yeah,
think
I haven't seen him hit anybody with it though.
no, no,
I
not
mean,
on
not
purpose. But
intentionally.
pace of play is a good one because they bring them to the middle, and that means hey, it's time to make the bets. And then when they push him out, it's like the roulette dealer, waving his hand, no more bets. But some of us, and it's called late bets. Some of us still throw in bets when the dice are out, but that's a whole nother topic. But
Topic,
yeah,
yeah.
it should be if the dice go out to the shooter, no more bets.
No more bets. That's right. That's
Yeah.
right.
So I don't the stick. Other than that, I mean, it's just it's a tool that they need just to reach the dice, I guess.
Hmm. And then,
Yeah, I don't know.
so stick, puck, dice. You want to talk about the layout a little bit, depending. I mean, I
Okay,
know
that's a big
it's an
one. So I'm
audio,
trying to
it's an
think.
audio, yeah, it's an audio podcast, but we don't have any
Yeah.
visuals right now. But do you want to talk about the general layout of it, and as far as the, where you stand versus where you can't stand, that type of thing?
Well, you approach the table. You stand anywhere where there's room. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the layout can accommodate 8 players. The modern day, most of us are bigger people. We're bigger and bigger as the years go by. A lot of times, it's only 6 or 7 players can fit on a
Okay.
side. Um, they can take more. I've seen them actually take more players, but usually, it's kind of set up for 8 per side of the table, and usually deal to 6 or 7, something like that.
Okay.
Um, so when you see on the table are literally just different combinations of what the dice can roll. So the dice can roll between 2 and 12. So you got to have the numbers 2, 3, 4, all the way to 12. And
Mm-hmm.
then they have different combinations. Like if you roll a 5-5, that's a different bet than rolling a 6-4. So there's a different way to roll a 10. It's called the hard way and the easy way. So those are both on the layout.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess the big part of it, the main part of the game is there's what's called a pass line. And that's kind of what the game's developed around. So I don't know if we need to get into all of that. Real simply, it's before when the puck is off and the game is off and starting over. You could make a bet on the pass line, and you can win if it rolls a 7 or 11 for the first roll. You would
Mm-hmm.
lose if it's 2, 3, or 12. Those are craps numbers. And then any other number, you'll see them up on the layout: 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10, because those are the only numbers left. If one of those rolls, they would move the puck onto that number. And now you got to roll that number again. And if you do, it would be called a pass. You've passed. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why it's called a pass line. There's a comeback on the layout, which is essentially the same thing. It's just you make it when the puck is already on or the game is in session, but it's the
Mm-hmm.
same as works the same as a pass line. And yeah, there's a section called the field bet, which is there's multiple numbers in the field bet. But yeah, essentially it's a layout of numbers, and the dealers will place where you bet. I want to bet on an 8. They'll put your money on the 8 according to the position where you're standing around the table. So that's people get, wow, what's going on? Well, the dealers know specifically if they put you in this corner, you're in that corner of the table. It's kind of hard to explain this for audio, but there
Right.
are positions around the on the layout so they can relate them to the position of the player around the table. So that for
Okay.
them, it actually is very easy to keep track of. And then as a player, you can always ask, hey, where are you putting my bets? Because it looks confusing when there's like 8 bets up there on one number. Well, they'll tell you, hey, you're the second one on the front. So then you know you're the second one on the front on
for
all the
every
other
box
numbers.
number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because you'll be in
Okay.
the same position for every box number.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we kind of mentioned earlier there are some bets in the middle that the stick man controls. So those ones you toss your money to. And there's some self-serve bets and there's dealer bets, but you kind of need to know the game a little bit. But yeah, the layout is just a way to so they could book your bets. You let them know what number you want to bet on, and that's where they put the bet. And then hey, now your money is on an 8. You need an 8 to roll. Your money's on the 4. You need the 4 to roll. If your money's on the hard 10, you need the hard 10 to roll. So that's what the layout's for, is so they know what your bets are.
I was going to say, I'll say this: the layout is a mastery of efficiency. Whoever came up with the idea of mimicking the players on each side around the box number and placing their bets and keeping track of them. And, sometimes if somebody leaves, somebody say, hey, I'm going to push you to the back now, or I'm going to bring you down to the front spot since you've moved over a little bit. I mean, it's incredible. Whoever came out with that design.
It was John Wynn, I don't know, 30s or 40s, came up with the modern day layout. And then I think he also came up with the don't pass, which is the opposite way to bet. I believe he came up with the layout that had that. But yeah, I think John Wynn is the name of the fellow that was kind of came up with the modern day layout, which pretty much
it's incredible because you think about all the different ways you can bet on the table, and then bam, there's a spot for it, whether it be a come bet, whether it be a don't come bet, whether it be a lay bet. You have them on the back of the box numbers and everything. It's absolutely incredible.
There's a lot of different ways, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. And then as far as they're usually it's a fabric material. There are marketing reasons or whatever. They could be any color that the casino wants. Sometimes they'll have big pictures. I've seen mountains printed on them, or lions, or they could be scenic. So I'm not a big fan of those because they get kind of cluster. It's a lot visually.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah, so I like a nice clean layout that's just a solid color. Although some bets they do make different colors sometimes. For instance, we talked about the hardway colors, which is in the center of the table. They'll have usually the center of the table is known for one roll bets, which means if you bet on it, it's going to resolve with one roll. But there are hardway bets, which are multi-roll bets. And so a lot of times you'll see on layouts, there'll be maybe a different color. Like these will be yellow and these will just be white, or vice versa, or something like that. So sometimes you'll see different colors on the layout. Nowadays, they'll have new side bets printed on the layouts. They'll be like popular ones are repeater bet, fire bet, all tall, small. And these are just kind of additional games to the standard game of craps. So, but the directions and again, how they place your bets and the payouts will typically be printed on this felt material or fabric material. It used to be more felt. Now it's more of like a microfiber synthetic, for wear and tear purposes.
Yeah, they do seem to hold up pretty doggone well for as sharp as the dice are. And all the hundreds of thousands of throws or whatever it is in a day and a year that happens on a table, they do seem to hold up pretty doggone well, and the layouts stay for a long time.
And you'll see some though that have it's like all these like little like white or indented marks on them. Yeah, it's literally just the dice have just been hitting so many times it kind of digs through the fabric. So. Usually sometimes they're right on bare wood. I know back in the old days they used to put like a newspaper layer between the wood and the fabric. My table at home, I have like a secondary layer of fabric underneath. Some casinos now, these like really bouncy casino or tables, if you've ever been to one, and it seems like the bouncer, like they usually, they have like almost like it's like a neoprene or almost like a styrofoam type material. A very spongy material is a layer below their fabric, and so that's what's creating. If
A
you're
lot of bounce. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
very
my table at
bouncy.
home, I use a 4 milliliter one that you put the wood flooring on or the laminate flooring on. So you have to
Okay.
have a moisture layer underneath it, and I use that. My table at home is very bouncy, so I'm famous for playing them and bouncing them off the table. So I probably should have gone with a 2 milliliter to cut it in half. But yeah, I'm curious. Some of them, yeah, like you said, some of them are way more bouncy than other tables
And
on
so a
that
lot of
one.
people, I know a lot of people like to practice throwing the dice, and so what they typically do, like if they have a home table, either a real craps table or just like a homemade one out of plywood and 2x4, they'll try to mimic what their local casino has as far as how bouncy or how hard the surface is. So, if you're going to practice and go play at your local Ameristar, right? You want the same or as close to as you can get. So people try to figure out, hey, how bouncy is it? How do I approximate that at home by
Hmm.
adding or taking away a layer or changing the type of layer underneath
Yeah, makes
my
sense.
layout?
Yeah,
Yeah.
makes
Mm-hmm.
sense on that. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So tools, we got the layout, we've got the stick, we've got the checks, we've got the dice, we've got the puck, we've
We
got.
didn't talk about the checks a whole bunch, though.
No, let's talk about that in the colors because they're pretty significant, right?
Yeah, I would say so. There's for the most part, I believe there are 30, 39 millimeter chips. I think that's the
Ooh,
standard. Yeah.
okay.
Some of the old ones were made out of clay. The newer ones are made. There's some newer ones that are usually printed are made out of. I can't believe I don't remember because these are the ones that I order a lot of time.
Are they
Um,
poly something or the other, or
no,
ceramic, or what is it?
ceramic. They call them ceramic,
Okay.
but they're. I mean, people make them out of a little bit of different materials. Um, I know some casinos in the older days too would have like lead chips in the middle of them for weight purposes, and they were like a lighter materials. But essentially, they're just round little discs, and the colors are a big part of it because you could quickly tell. Because again, we said you're not allowed to play with cash, so you exchange cash for checks. So the
Mm-hmm.
checks need to be different colors, so you know how much you're betting easily at a glance.
Okay.
Now, $1 checks, I've seen two different colors, and that's usually blue or white.
Okay. That's what I've seen
Now,
too.
now, don't hold me to this. It might not be, and I've seen those vary all over the country, but they're usually blue or white. The next few are standard, and that would be the red $5 chip, the green $25 chip, the black $100 chip.
Okay.
I've never seen anyone variate from that standard,
Okay.
any casino. Once you go from $100 chip, the next chip on tables is a $500 chip.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, I've seen purple.
Okay.
Again, that's pretty close to standard. I think brown. People have used brown at 500, but you want them different colors for
Mm-hmm.
so you can count them up and keep track, right? And then the next chip is $1,000 chip, and I've seen it either yellow or orange, and people call them, hey, that's a banana. Hey, I've won a banana, or I've won
Pumpkin.
a pumpkin, yeah, for orange.
Yeah.
So
Pumpkin.
those are
Okay.
usually the two colors I see for $1,000 chip. But yeah, so the colors are kind of important because you want to know what you're betting, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the dealers can easily know what they're
And you
handling.
need to know what you're getting back if your bets do win. You want to be, seeing
Yeah,
the proper colors coming back
right.
toward
If
you.
you win $35, you want to see a green and two reds. 35 dollars.
Right.
Um, yeah.
Okay.
And then when you're done, this is where I don't know how many people know this. So you would turn in. You can walk away from the table anytime you want. So let's say you've had a good night. You got a whole bunch of red chips and green chips and hopefully some black chips. whole handful. You can walk away from those and take them to
But
the
they're going to say, no,
cashier.
no, 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 no,
They
sir,
try to.
sir. Yeah.
They try to because they're keeping track of what's on the table. But you could say no thanks and keep walking if you want. But it is your money. It's again, like I said, they're checks. They have cash value. You can go to the cashier and exchange them. But what's convenient for you and the people that work, the dealers, is to just once the puck goes off to push all your chips in, and they will count them and exchange a bunch of chips for a smaller amount of chips, and that is called coloring up. And
Right.
that's where I got my name, Color Up. So it's usually a good thing if you're coloring up. If you got a bunch of reds and greens and blacks, and they color you up to like one pumpkin or one banana and a couple other
Couple
chips,
black
right?
or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and that way you only have 5 chips in your hand to go to the cashier instead of like a whole stacks of them, which
And
you
it's
really
it's quicker probably, and they don't have to bring as many chips back to the
yeah
table, which slows the game up.
yeah
When they bring in a fill, that type of thing.
because the casino needs the chips on the table, so for you to take them and then run them right back makes no sense. So
Right.
it's best just turning your chips. They'll give you a couple to walk away with, and you move about your day. So
And I think a lot of these checks now have some kind of RFID frequency in there because there
yeah
was a big scandal in Vegas, probably 30 years ago now, where this guy took low value chips and spray painted them and changed them to make them look like high value chips, and they would go in there and swap them out, and they got away with it for a pretty good while until they got busted and raided, and the guy ended up going to jail. So yeah, chips do have so like the chips that I have that I've gotten from some of the casinos, I could take them back to those casinos, the ones that I kept as mementos, and use them in the game again.
Yep. Or take them to the cashier and just get cash because, like I said, they're checks, so they have cash value. But yeah, I know from what I've been told is a lot of course, the higher denominations, 100, 500, 1,000 chips have. Most casinos nowadays have RFID chips in them. So not only can the casino track them, but if you dropped one, if someone were to pick it up, it's technically stealing. If you find a chip on the ground, you really should turn it in. If it's a high denomination, they actually know who it belongs to.
Wow.
Or where it came, what table it came from, and that sort of thing. I've heard rumor that some. I've heard like what's Resorts World, all the way down to $1 chips have RFID. I don't know that's for sure, but
wow,
for sure a lot of the higher denominations do. So yeah, that's kind of like a newer thing in chips, but yeah, they know where their chips are.
They know where their money is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, any other things with colors that you could think of? We're talking about chips.
Colors go. Yeah, not really.
Okay.
Some, a lot of people collect them, so they all have pictures or designs or logos or whatever. And I recently got a Tropicana one. In this case, it's essentially they imploded the building. Tropicana doesn't exist, so now I have a souvenir because essentially the
never
bank
coming back. Yeah,
it went under, so I'm not going to be able, even though it is a cash value check. They give you a period of time. Hey, we're closing business. Come and exchange it for cash, because at some point it will become a souvenir. And so yeah, some people collect closed casinos, and those they're still checks, but you can't cash them because the bank is insolvent. They're closed. They're bankrupt or whatever. But yeah, if it's still an existing casino that's operating, you could take it in because it's cash value.
And this might be something to ask, and I think I've done this before, and I might have asked him before, but Holy Roller Brian, I think you can take the chips off of one ship, the checks off one ship, and use them on another.
Yeah, I don't know enough about that.
Yeah,
someone did mention about pocketing chips. the nickname for pocketing chips is rat holing. It's kind of sounds like a negative thing. Now the casino doesn't necessarily like you to do that because they like to know they know the chips in front of them, and then they know what's on the rail, so they can kind of see how much is coming and going.
Sure.
But I know as players, a lot of us will use it as maybe a form of money management. We're like, okay, cool, I won this $100. This is pure profit. I put it in my pocket,
Right.
and I'm not going to play it again, and therefore the casino can never win it back from me. So it's a good way of like locking up a profit, right? Put it in your pocket. Hopefully you're not digging back out after a losing streaks, but it's like, you know what, I'm locking this away,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's a great way. But um, yeah, I guess there would be some reasons people might use it to act like they're losing more money than they actually are, to maybe for comp purposes. But typically, most modern casinos, they know what's kind of going on. They know if they're missing two black chips. But so I think more often it's usually just players are trying to,
And
manage
they
their
can
money a little bit.
figure out who it is. You think with
I don't know
eight
if they can
guys on
figure
each
out which
side?
person it is, but they know, who, hey, we're missing a couple black chips. Someone pocketed it or whatever. But again,
So
if
they, yeah,
I don't know that they're RFID and they go, oh, okay. They just want to make sure that the money just didn't disappear. They're fine if the player takes it or they have it. They just, yeah.
yeah.
So, but for the players, yeah, it's usually just money management purposes.
Okay.
And it is it's your check. It is your money. You're certainly allowed to. But I've heard instances of people like, hey, do you have any money in your pocket? Like, I'd like you to exchange it. Let's color you up. But it's as good as cash. You could say, no, thanks. It's my money.
Yeah.
I'm cool. I'm cool. It's in my pocket. I'm cool. So if anyone
Wow.
asks you and you don't want to, yeah, leave it in your pocket if you'd like.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm.
All right. So we got the stick, the layout, blah blah blah, the checks, the dice. Is there anything else? Knowledge. What else? What other tool could we
Holy Roller
possibly
helped us
have?
out. He mentioned lammers, buy button, lay button. Uh, you'll see those
Yep.
on tables.
Yeah.
So they're ways that dealers mark whether because we talked about this significant layout where people could book the dealers could book the bets, but some bets are in the same location.
Ah.
So a come bet, let's
Mm-hmm.
back up. There's boxes. Let's take the 4, for example.
Okay.
There's a box on the table.
Right.
If you make a place bet, the place bets go on the border of the box. So that's where your check goes. If you make a come bet would be put inside. Like if you're in this corner of the table, your
Mm-hmm.
place bet would be in that corner on the border of the box. But if you made a come bet, it
Okay.
would go inside in that corner where you're positioned around the table.
Right.
But a buy bet is a little different than a place bet, but it goes where the come bet goes. So they would put your chip there, but put a lammer on it that says
Mm-hmm.
buy. And then that way they would know whether, because a come bet only gets paid 1-to-1, a buy bet gets paid true odds minus a vig. So very big difference. And so you
Sure.
want to know the difference. And so there's certain bets, and then a lay bet is the opposite. You're betting against a number. So you put a lay bet. Let's see what other lammers are
On and
used.
off. On and off.
On
On
and off.
the
You
come
can
up.
turn
Yeah.
all your individual bets on. So if the puck is off, all your place bets are off, but you say, you know what, for the come out roll, I want my 5. Maybe the 5 feels lucky. I want my 5 to be on. Well, they have little buttons and they can go, okay, your 5 is on. All the other numbers are off, but your 5 is on. Or so you could turn on one number or all the numbers, or vice versa. If the puck is on and the game's on, you could say, you know
Turn me
what,
off one
turn me
roll.
off
Yeah.
for one roll. So they can put a marker on all of your bets, or sometimes, a lot of times, if you want all your bets off, they'll put it one to designate that all your bets are off. But so those are little smaller chips. Sometimes you'll see them. They have like numbers that are like 5,000, 10,000, and they'll put those on their stacks in the on the table. So they, most don't. You don't see it very often because they, all chips are stacked in stacks of 20. So they know how much, a stack is. A stack of greens,
Right.
500, right? A stack of whites, 20. A stack of red chips is $100, and so on. So
And then how about that lay button? Is there a lay button?
yeah, I mentioned it. Oh, did I?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. It's
Well, I
it's
think
opposite of the buy button. So if you
so.
want to, if you have a lay bet because a don't come is in another area in the same position, you could make a lay bet against a number. And so they would put a lay lammer on your bet. So you would know whether it's a don't come
Laying
bet.
against it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You're laying against. If you
Okay.
make a lay bet on the 4, you're rooting for a 7 before the 4.
Right. Okay. All right. Yeah, those are some good tools that to know about.
Stick, layout, chips, puck, dice. Um,
Lammers. Yeah.
yeah, the table itself, there really is not it's not like other sports where it's like a basketball hoop they measure before the game, right? It's got to be exactly 10 inches. The rim, I think, is 18 inches round. Very specific. Right? A pool table, ultra specific.
No standards.
With a craps table, there's not. There'll be different height. They kind of have a general. You'll see that they're generally the same, but
Mm-hmm.
the box will be a little bit thicker or deeper. They'll be a little
Mm-hmm.
bit wider. They're again, a lot of them are around 10 foot, 12 foot, 14 foot, 16 foot, but a little
No
different.
standard. Mm-hmm.
How much they curve, a little bit differences. There's not like, hey, you have to abide by the Nevada State specifications. It's just like the casino builds them all different, maybe for a reason, right? So people couldn't practice exact specifications. But you'll
Mm-hmm.
see the bumper rubber ball walls. You'll see
The
some that are
pyramid walls. Yeah.
5 diamonds high. There'll be 5 diamonds. Some will be 7 diamonds high. Again, there's just not, they're not super specific, and they probably are specific for a reason.
And there might not even be specific to same property because you might have one table that's 10, 12 feet. Then you've got another one that's 14 feet and
Yeah, and
longer.
you'll see them side by side. We didn't talk. There are different. There's kind of a newer, well, not newer. I think it was made in the '80s or something. But crapless craps. I don't want
Mm-hmm.
to get in completely. That actually, my next 2 videos coming out should be on crapless craps. So
Oh,
if you're
cool.
curious about that, it's just a game without a don't. So you can't lose on the come out roll. But it's a
Can't
little bit.
win either, right? Or
Yeah,
no,
you
you can
can't win.
win.
You can
You
win with the
can
7.
7. Yeah. Yeah.
The 11, 2, 3, and 12, they establish points. But so the layout is a little bit different, and you'll see that in my video. But yeah, you might have a casino with a crapless craps table and a craps table. You'll have a casino with a 10-foot table and a 16-foot table. Some casinos have tub tables. They're like, there's only a few of them, but they're miniature. They're like 6 feet, and typically people sit at them, and it's like 6 feet long, the total thing. And it's usually just one dealer, and it's just,
Right.
they call it tub because it's like, it looks like a little bathtub.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, yeah. So there's no standards for that as far as the actual table goes. Um, yeah, I can't think of what other tools, if anything, are we missing?
Okay. Yeah, I think we probably hit the tools, but knowledge and I think we had some people say strategies and ideas of play, discipline
Okay,
can be
you're allowed to
obviously
have.
a
Okay,
tool.
Holy Roller mentioned notebook. His
Yeah.
notebook is actually in my store. If you go to my Color Up store, you can pick up his notebook. All proceeds go to him, but because it's just an Amazon link. But yeah, some people like to track the rolls or
Mm-hmm.
track. I take a notebook to track. Hey, what is my buy-in? How long did I play? What did I buy out for? How much did I lose? How much did I win? That sort of thing. Uh,
How many
Technically, you're
how
supposed to
many
report.
diet cokes did you have? Yeah.
Yeah,
At
technically,
what
you're
price?
supposed to report for taxes. And if you did, you could deduct your losses against any winnings. But you do have to keep track of that if you wanted to deduct your losses. I won't get into. It's a very rare instance that anything is reported on a craps table, so we won't get into that conversation. But so a lot of
Okay.
people track things in notebooks. You are a lot of, if you have a strategy, you can write it down. Typically, they're not big fans of electronic devices. so phones or anything like that. It's loosening nowadays because of social media, but you're perfectly fine bringing paper. If you're like, hey, how do I press from 30 to 42, or if you like press moves or how a strategy might work.
Progressions or something. Yeah.
You could certainly bring a piece of paper, either printed or handwritten or whatever, to the table. It's perfectly fine. Same with like blackjack. If you can buy them or give away the
They have a little
perfect strategy.
Cards,
yeah, you're allowed to have it as long as it's not an electronic device. They're cool with you having a piece of paper to help you at the table. So that is something you could bring, a notebook or paper at the table.
Okay.
Unless the comments have anything else, I haven't covered anything.
We're at 55 minutes right now.
Really? So I've been murmuring on going on that long.
Yeah, I know. And that includes a little intro. So, but yeah, I think we could end it now and head on over to the monster roll. But yeah, there's definitely different tools, and the game's not as intimidating as you think if you're a new person. Best way to learn it is to get your hands.
Watch them color up.
Watch some color up videos, or some of our other friends too, and get your hands dirty at a table.
Yeah.
Hopefully, stand beside somebody who's nice. And the dealers will help you if you need some help. Right? What else?
You can learn at a real table, and that costs you money. There are options like our friends at Casino Quest, where you can buy
David
per hour.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So you pay like $25 fee, and you can learn and play at their table. Or what I recommend, do something at home. You can either buy like an Amazon set for like under $20, or Jim has posters written behind him. You could draw a layout on a poster board and use like pennies and nickels and quarters. And I think the big deal is to get the ebb and flow of how payoffs work. So, hey, I like this strategy I saw on YouTube. Let me test it out. I start with quarters on these numbers, and then they're going to pay me. You learn the payouts. Hey, they're going to pay me 35. They're
35,
going to pay me 49.
Yeah, 30 or whatever.
And then once you see and kind of move physically, people learn in different ways, but tactilely, that seems to be the best way to learn the game. Buy yourself a real, you don't have to use quarters, but buy yourself a cheap poker set of chips or something. And once you're actually moving, and hey, this pays this, so it's this chips. Again, we go back to the colors. Hey, it's a green and 2 reds. You kind of get that. So once you go to the real money table, you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a great way to learn the game for sure.
That's awesome.
So yeah, tools of the trade, pretty important. But I guess bottom line, you just need. I said you only need dice, but you also need money. You got to play with money.
Yeah, you got to play some money. But you can play at home for fun.
Yeah, you can play for fun. Yeah, that's
or
what
fantasy
I do with my
craps.
kids. So.
Yeah,
or fantasy craps. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
not necessarily for money. That's true. Good point.
Yeah. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we are powered by Sports Grid.
Good way to wrap up the show. So
yeah. Forgot to throw that
next
in.
week. Good luck on Color It Up. And,
very good.
Let's go to the monster roll if we have any questions.
Sure.
Keep it concise tonight since I'm on location. I don't even know if these things are still working or how it sounded, but
I think it's
I'm glad we made it work. Okay.
Oh, should I hit the end stream now? No, I don't want to do that. No. Don't do that.
Going.
All right, my bad. I didn't. Like I said, I don't want to be a bozo. It's my first
Jim's
time, ladies and gentlemen, with all the extra host buttons and responsibility over here. A lot of pressure. So let's see.
I can't see the comments real good on this phone.
I'm going to read it. I got them over here. I got you.
You go through.
But anyway, we did have some guys jumping in early. Jacksonville Jaguars, and your sister jumped in and said, hey. And let's see, dice and money are definitely tools, according to Holy Roller, and we talked about that for a while. And let's see what else. Joe with Craps Master Journey, I saw he had a couple comments flow by. And let's see. Tom, let's see, like the dice would get into a ball. Oh, that's funny. One of our regular listeners, Tom, says, like the dice, we would get into the ball influence with roulette.
Yeah.
Roulette influencer. Spin it this way instead of that way.
Some say that some
clockwise, counterclockwise.
Dealers Well, they rotate. They're supposed to rotate it. The wheel and the dice, or the wheel and the ball go opposite, but they're supposed to rotate the spins of the wheel every other roll. So go clockwise and then counterclockwise and then clockwise. But they say some dealers have done it so much that they can pressure and feel it and land in a particular section.
Oh my gosh.
Which,
Really?
I mean,
I don't
maybe.
know
I
about
mean,
I don't know about that,
if you
Jeremy.
could spin the wheel at the same speed, flick it the same, if you can narrow it down, hey, if you can land in a quarter. So maybe if you find a dealer who's been dealing for 50 years roulette and you watch
Muscle
them,
memory
maybe.
with enough
Yeah.
practice. With enough
Yeah.
practice. Yeah, okay. I don't know about that. I
But
don't know
that is
about that.
one way that supposedly
They can
you can
control the
find
outcome.
some.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna keep working my comments here.
And
Let's
certainly
see.
there have been imbalanced wheels. They want to make sure the wheel's perfectly balanced because if it tilts, gravity's going to do its job and the ball is going to end up tilted down. So there have been in past people have taken advantage of unbalanced wheels, but that's the casino's job is they
Make
test
sure
them
it's
all the
fair,
time.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Holy Roller jumped in earlier, and I missed that one. He said discipline is definitely a tool. We talked
Yeah, those
about
are like
discipline.
discipline, money management. All those are like
Yep.
mental knowledge
Mm-hmm.
tools for sure.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what else. Oh, wait a minute. Here we go. It's a little commercial for the Color Up Club. It cost him $3,000 to learn craps before he found the Color Up Club. Yeah, that's a little joke, I'm sure. But yeah, it can be an expensive way to learn if you don't have some base knowledge up
Yeah, get some
there.
base knowledge. Club is a great place. You can talk to other players and meet up with other players in your local area. So that's
Yeah, and then
Casino Quest is a great option.
Thrawn said, got all those buttons for the game on and off lays and ATS. He had that comment early and I didn't see it. I apologize, Thrawn, if you're still hanging around. Now here's a Tom again with another good comment. He said first time at the table he just copied the guy who was winning, really clueless, but won quite a few bucks. Not a recommendation, but it worked. So I've had actually people 2 times in my craps playing days. They were playing a certain way, and I was winning with my come bets and odds. And one of them was my buddy up at Harrington, and it was the first or second time he was playing with me. And I said, "Well, you don't have to wait." He said, "Next time I play, next time I come with you, I'm going to play like your strategy with the come bets." I said, "You don't have to wait till next time. You can make a come bet right now." And then, sure enough, he started winning. He won a bunch of his money back. And I think I ended up with over $1,000 off a $200 or $300 buy-in. And then the other one was when I was
You're
on
the
date.
you're the hero when they copy and you win. You're the
Oh
hero.
yeah, you're not a hero if they copy when you lose. That's what
Yeah.
I tell the people too. But then there was another guy. In fact, I got a picture of him when I went out to meet Demon Dog Chris and Top Hat and a few of the other guys over in Indianapolis at the Golden Horseshoe. And we went out there, and then this guy was just like, I was killing it, Jeremy. I was just like, I was on fire that night. And the guy said, he said, how do you play? How do you play? How you play? And I said, well, look, just do what I do. And he did. And then we both went to the cage. I think I had like $3,000. He had $1,500, and we got pictures of us together. So
The old
yeah,
copycat method.
copycat method works, right? Copycat method works. Let's see. 8 to a side is usually a pretty packed table, according to Ron, which I agree with. It's tight. I was out there at the Color Up. We have a couple guys in the club, 3 or 4 guys in the club who are kind of bigger guys, and I got like pinched in on the back corner over between them. And yeah, 8 to a side is at least over at Ellis Island is tight over there. 8 to a side.
Yeah. It depends if you're at a 12-foot table or a 16-foot table. Yeah.
Makes a big difference there.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's a little etiquette little thing. He said he goes ahead and he steps back and lets people have a little room when they're shooting. So
I'm a big fan of that. Just if I'm not in the act of betting or whatever or throwing, I'll just take a little step back. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. grab some other comments here if anybody's still around. John H. Crab Semester Journey said it was around 1910. I
Okay.
guess
A
is
little bit earlier than.
Yeah, what we were thinking.
Yeah, I said like 30s or 40s, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And let's see. What else is going on here? I guess that's for 1910 there was no don't is what they were saying. Yeah. But not a lot of more comments here. I'm running down toward the bottom here. And let's see. Yeah, here's one here where Holy Roller says, yeah, you definitely on the ships, they know who has the purple or the yellow chips are on the ships. So definitely on that one. So they keep track of them is the point. They're not going to let you walk around too far with one of those big chips. 16 with, really crowded. That's one of the things about the cruise ships, and I know Brian's talked about. There's a lot of new players, and people are more, interested in stepping up on a cruise ship to a craps table than they typically, I think, would be at a regular casino. I think it's more inviting. There's more space. It's not as packed sometimes and crowded, that type of thing is what I'm thinking. And then Naomi had a comment. She said, you need your color up brother with you to tell you what to play so that you win. So I don't know what she means by that.
I've never played with my sister, so I don't know.
Okay. All right. Maybe that's a cry for help or more family time.
Yeah, I should probably take her up to Jack's Casino in Cleveland or Hollywood, Columbus, and take her to play craps. I don't know.
Make it happen. Make it happen.
Yeah, I guess
family
really
fun time. Yeah, family fun time.
But I would feel so bad if I'm like, okay, do this, and then
you lose your money. Yeah,
I'd feel like so terrible.
I can't tell you how many times I've tried to take some money, teach them or something, and they come with like half the bankroll what they should, and then and you tell them, okay, this is a smart bet. The other one's not, or high, high house edge bet, high house advantage bet. And then they lose it. And then I tell them, but really, you should feel very proud of yourself because you didn't make any stupid bets, but they were all smart bets that lost. So, yeah, not good. Let's see. Tom made a comment about David at Casino Quest. Did some shows on how bets are placed and the order of payouts on each. Yeah, I think actually you were there on. You made some videos with him.
I've made a couple videos on those. Yeah. I've worked with them, and then I've done some on my own. But yeah.
Yeah, I think so. So it's a good way to learn.
Just Google it, like how dealers keep track of bets or where players' bets are placed. You'll probably find mine or Casino Quest videos. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And how about this one? Oh, and then Joe said, of course, the order of payouts and payoffs is a good thing to know. So definitely on that one, Joe.
That's advanced player mode because you want to know when it's your turn to make the bet. So you're not like, hey, I want to press my
talking out of your turn,
and the dealer's like, hey, I got to deal with 4 other players first because they have a very specific
order of operations. That's right. Mm-hmm. And then Holy Roller Brian with the comment of the night here, he said, to keep the roulette players honest, you have to look. They're supposed to look away when they spin the ball. So there has to be a no-look pass. So,
I've heard that rule. Yeah, they're not supposed to watch.
Yeah, but if you can hit a no-look pass in basketball or a no-look pass,
but I mean, when I was talking about earlier, when the guys could time it, they would go like you would want to wait for like the green to get to a certain area, and then you flick the ball or something, right? You would need some sort of reference. If you're completely blind, like you wouldn't have any frame of reference of when to spin the ball or whatever. So,
but I mean, is the roulette wheel just continuously run all the time, or do they have to physically spin it? Slows down.
So it slows down. They stop it, and like I said, for the next roll, they got to spin it the opposite direction.
Okay.
So
interesting.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a way that the casino tries to prevent collusion or dealer cheating. When I think most casinos have a rule you can't look because that's what it's. I'm telling you, I think it's a real thing, and that's why they have to install
Really?
that rule.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
I
So
don't know.
I mean, you would have to be really good at be like, okay, here comes the green, and now at the same, to try to narrow down a section. But that is just again a rule. It's like the
Okay.
dice; both dice have to hit the back wall. It's a rule to try to prevent people from rolling them short or
Right.
sliding or whatever, because
Integrity.
people can maybe beat the game, and then they're like, but if the dice hit the wall, they, as far as they're concerned, it's a fair game. So it's the same thing like with roulette. As long as the wheel's balanced and the dealers don't look, as far as they're concerned, it's a
Okay.
fair game. Because
Okay.
yeah, they want a fair game because they
Mm,
make their money on a fair game.
yes, every roll, every
Yeah,
roll, even when they pay out, they make
yeah,
money. That's true. Well, those are all the comments that we ran through there, Jeremy, and we're at
cool,
1 hour and 10 minutes on our limited
perfect.
Tulsa time show here without an intro. But we were
Yeah.
still powered by Sports Grid, and we're very happy with that. And I thought it
Again,
was a
I
good
mean,
show.
I try not to miss any, so this is a good. If we're away, we can pull it off somehow, right?
Yeah, yeah, and you did, and you
Yeah,
did. So it was
yeah.
pretty remarkable. So any other comments to our friends? It looks like we've
I
got
don't
10
see
viewers,
anything. I
13
think we ran them
viewers.
all off, but
Yeah, there's
really
13
appreciate you
viewers left.
watching. Thanks
Yeah,
for sticking
Naomi
around for the
said has a
monster
good.
roll.
Yep, and Naomi said have a good night. So glad to see we could at least get some family time in here during the
Yeah,
podcast as
exactly.
well. So, well, have a great
So,
night, Naomi.
yep. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week on the Color Up Podcast. And then, Jim, for you, it's
Yep,
I think there should be a end
end stream
stream.
button. Okay,
Yeah.
bye everybody. I'm
See ya.
ending the stream. All right, the stream has been ended, and then it says end the stream, outro video, not yet, then end stream or set
Yep.
outro video.
Yeah, just confirm end stream.
End stream.